I had the perfect subject to deal, but I was forced to sell it. This was the perfect subject to deal because it ticked every box. I got it with a low interest rate, VA loan. It was like 3.2%. It was a newer build home. I bought it with none of my own money. I raised private money for the deal. It was a great area. It cash flowed. It had equity. Didn't need any repairs really. I thought I was gonna keep this house forever till I paid off this last payment of this mortgage. But someone had other plans. Why? So this seller, even though they sign all these disclosures that the mortgage stays in their name, I'm not going to pay this off at any certain point in time, that it's going to stay on their credit report, that I might never pay this off. It might be paid to the last minute. Like we make them sign all these disclosures at signing the contract and then again at the closing table. But for some reason in her head, she had it thought that I was going to sell it in 3 years. Continually had the conversation with her that I would never guarantee that. If I guaranteed it, I would put it in a balloon. I would put a balloon on it and I would sign an agreement with you that states that in writing. And I sent her all the docs. I'm like, where do you see this? And she had no answer for me. She's just like, we need to use this our VA benefits again. We can't buy a house. You know, we really need to VA benefits. So I agreed reluctantly to sell the house. I had a tenant in place, and when their lease came up, I told her, hey, when their lease is up, I'll tell them they have to move and I'll sell the property. And the benefit of that for us was we did have a lot of equity. We bought it right. We bought a great deal when we first initiated this purchase in July 2019, and 3.5 years roughly later, we have quite a bit of equity in there. And another thing that we looked at, and we look at it in other deals as well, is our return on equity. So roughly on average, this house brings us about $400 a month. So what we ended up profiting on this deal, it only comes out to be about a 3% return on equity. Especially during these recessionary times, you want to get cash, be cash heavy. And so for us to be able to dispose of this asset, help her in her situation, and allow us to, put 140 grand into our pockets, it allows us to be more liquid during these times. The more cash you have at your disposal during these times where our numbers might not be as good as they were last year on the wholesale side, there's gonna be a lot more buying opportunity moving forward with other people being in distress. So you wanna be cash heavy and be able to take advantage of opportunities. So this allows us to kill essentially 2 birds with 1 stone. So with more cash in our pocket, we're able to be more dangerous during recessionary times. And on the other side, we get to help this lady utilize her VA benefits again by paying off this note and selling the property. So now let's get to what you came here for, the money. Let's talk about these numbers. All right, so in July of 2019, I bought this property for $312,000. The mortgage was $272,000. It was a VA loan, like 3.25%. So the seller was getting $40K. I negotiated with her actually $25K down and $15K paid out at 0% interest, $1,000 a month, and $25K down. So what I did on this deal is I actually raised $50K. That would cover the whole $40K I owed to the seller and the closing costs and a little bit of repairs. All we did was like clean the carpets, change out like a sink faucet. It was really minimal. I don't even think we spent the whole $2K, but we borrowed $50K at 8% from a private lender. So those payments are $333.33 a month. Our cash to close was this $25K down, plus it was like $8 grand in closing costs. So we paid all the closing costs. So it was $33K out of pocket. So with the $33K in cash to close, $2K later for repairs, and then the $15K that was paid in payments later, that was that $50K we borrowed. So essentially all the money we borrowed from the private lender went to pay the down payment and the small repairs. Pretty much got this property rented right away, and it was renting for $2,700. So on this property, it was renting for $2,700. The mortgage payment, PITI, was $1,805. The private lender was $333, and there was $100 a month HOA fee. We rented this property out right away, so we really had no vacancy. Property was super clean. We had an inspection report. There was really nothing that was needed to the property, and we did the little bit of stuff needed right after closing, and we got it rented like literally within the same month. And so not putting in those typical vacancy factors and maintenance factors of 10 and 15%, our cash flow on this was $462 a month. So after I pay the private lender, I am netting $462 a month with no money out of pocket, none. And we just sold this property on Monday, and I went back through all the reports We literally had maybe $500 worth of repairs in that whole time. We literally had nothing go on in this property. This is like the benefit of buying newer build homes. I'm trying to sell off all really my old stuff and only focus on buying newer homes because there's just less maintenance. There's just less issues. Nicer homes have better tenants and newer homes have less issues. So that's like my plan for 2023 is to buy nicer, newer homes. So we're cash flowing $462 a month when we initially bought this property. Right before the tenant moved out, it looked more like this. So it was actually, we got the rent up to $2,900 a month. I believe we've owned this property for 41 months. So we got them up from 27 to 28. And the last lease signing, they were at $2,900 a month. Our mortgage payment, PITI, went up because of taxes, insurance. It was actually $2,100. We still pay the private lender, the $333, and the HOA, I think, went up to $110. So now we are only making $367 a month. But again, it's literally an infinite return. I have no money out of pocket and I'm making $367 a month. So the seller asked us to sell again and again and again. We said, hey, when this tenant moves out, when their lease is up, we'll ask them to leave and we'll put the property on the market. So after being on the market, we got a buyer, a cash buyer. Took a little bit less than what we wanted, but we sold the property for $460,000. After paying off the mortgage, which was $250,000, so owning the house for 41 months, we paid down $22,000 of the mortgage. I didn't pay it down, my tenant paid it down. That's the benefit of owning rental property, is the tenant pays down your mortgage, increasing your equity, increasing your eventual cash in your pocket. So we paid that $250,000, I paid the $50,000 to the lender, and then we had about $20,000 in closing costs and commissions, mortgage and private lender. So on this deal, we netted $140,000 on this property. And although I wanted to keep this property forever, felt kind of forced to sell it. It was almost like she had me at gunpoint. We sold it, but it made sense for us because of our return on equity. So what I mean by that is we were netting $367 a month, and just say that's actually $400 for easy math. If we were netting $400 a month times 12, that'd be $4,800 a year. You would take that number and divide it by our net proceeds from the sale, and that's like roughly like 3.2% or something. So it's like 3.2% is our cash on cash return, essentially, if we didn't sell it. So if we kept it in there and we have this equity that we know we can get, we're gonna net 140, and we're only getting $4,800 a year, we're literally only making 3% return on that money. So can I sell this property, take that 140 and deploy it into another asset, into marketing, into anything else, and get a higher return than 3%? Hell yes, I can. Double-digit returns for sure. And so that's why it did make sense for us in the long run to sell this asset, take that 140 and go redeploy in a better time to buy during this current recession. So thinking about it, selling it actually does make it the perfect subject to deal. We got all those benefits in the front end that we discussed. And then now we're putting $140K in our pocket to be able to take these funds and go buy multiple creative finance deals every single month. And that's what we're doing for 2023. We're strictly only buying creative deals in 2023. You should also be buying creative finance deals in 2023. And since I know you do want to be buying creative finance deals in 2023, you have to make sure you subscribe to this channel because we're breaking down deals every single week on real deals that we're doing that you can do also. And it's all about structuring these properties correctly, all these deals correctly. So you want to subscribe. And then if you're not on our wholesale list, we're actually going to start wholesaling some of these deals, but only to people who know what they're talking about. We only want to wholesale these deals to experienced people in creative finance. So if you want to get on our buyers list, leave your email below. Our team is fully focused on contracting creative finance deals, but I can't buy them all. So we're going to wholesale some of these deals off to other investors who are subscribed to this channel, who know creative financing, who have experience. So if you want to get access to these creative finance wholesale deals, click the link in the description below, join buyers list, click the link, fill out your information. We'll make sure you get added to get creative finance deals sent to you. So you can acquire these great creative finance deals, start cash flowing, building wealth, and changing your life. Make it happen.